Welcome into a live, spooky edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible. Very excited to be doing a game preview edition with my two beautiful pals, Craig Stout and Maddie Lane. Maddie, happy Halloween. How are we?
Ooh, spooky. Got him. No, we're doing great on this Halloween. I hope everybody is enjoying, Halloween, whether you are still trick-or-treating age, whether you are taking little ones trick-or-treating, whether you're just decorating or handing out candy. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Halloween. I am excited to be here with my buddies talking a little ball. I am very excited that Craig is back and he is okay. How was the moon, buddy?
What? Wait, no, I wasn't gone. Why are we doing this Craig is okay bit when I'm not gone? I don't like the bit anyway, and it's worse when I'm not absent. The moon was great, though. Thank you for asking.
I knew you had a trip, so I just,
Yeah, moon was great. It was wonderful. Had a great time up there.
How are you for real?
I'm doing wonderfully, fellas. I really am excited to talk about a matchup that I think we've all had on our calendars circled for quite some time. And yeah, it's going to be a really good one this week. So really excited to be doing this on Halloween and then, watch the Chiefs turn around and scare the bejesus out of the Buffalo Bills with their offense. That's what I'm looking forward to this week.
And the National Football League, like just all of them. Just they're all gonna be terrified after what the Kansas City Chiefs do in this game. We are thrilled to be doing a game preview show. And hey, look, it is Bills week. It's a big one, unless you're asking Maddie Lane, who loves to downplay it. Whatever. It's
no,
okay.
I said it was a huge deal. These two teams trade off Super Bowl appearances year after year. They're constantly battling to see which one goes to the Super Bowl. It's a very back and forth affair. They have equal Super Bowl representation, equal rings over this time period. It is a crazy back and forth rivalry that this game here in October definitely decides which one of them will play in the Super Bowl.
100%. No, it's been a really evenly matched set of AFC championship games that the Chiefs have played against this team, or, earlier rounds. Sometimes they match up. It's really, really, oh, wait, no, it's not. The Chiefs have dominated this team in this regular season game. Doesn't really matter between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's still very important for both teams as they try and hold on to playoff seeding.
I'll push back a little bit. I think this game actually means a little bit more than it has to both teams because, one of these teams is eliminated from the 1 seed after this game. For all intents and purposes. And honestly, they all might be eliminated because the Indianapolis Colts won't stop.
We'll get to them in 3 weeks, Ken. Don't worry about that.
Well, we will get to them in 3 weeks, but we have 7 important minutes to get to because, ladies and gentlemen, the most important segment we will do all week here at KC Sports Network, the segment that's sweeping the nation. 7 minutes with Craig Stout. Tucker, hit the music.
That's right, everybody. Kansas City Chiefs, once again, come out last week, handle some business against the Washington football team. A little close early. Energy was not quite in a place that you would expect from the Chiefs, or maybe you would, coming off of a trap game, but not at the highest heights. And I think we saw that kind of in the first half. But I want to talk a little bit about what we saw in the second half. Yeah, Steve Spagnuolo did a really good job of getting pressure on Marcus Mariota, forcing him into a pass-heavy game script. George Karlaftis had a number of pressures. I know that, throughout the game, as you're watching it, didn't seem like the 4-man pass rush was doing a ton. But I actually thought George played pretty well late in the down, but really doing a good job of making his presence felt to Marcus Mariota. And you saw that kind of start to show up as the game went along. But man, this offense just, oh my goodness. I mean, we are now to the point where Patrick Mahomes is so comfortable behind this offensive line and his ability to get through his progressions in a way that we haven't seen in a number. Like, I don't even know if when we were talking about 2022, that historically efficient offense, we saw this kind of time back there, the ability to go these progressions. If you are the fifth person in the route for Patrick Mahomes right now, guess what? You better have your head on a swivel. Like you are a guy that is eligible. Everybody in these route combinations is a guy that Patrick Mahomes can get to right now. And I'm going to tell you right now that Andy Reid is beside himself. This is exactly what he wants. He wants to get 5 in the route. He wants to get the matchups that he wants, and he does a good job of those two things. But the third part of that is he wants to be able to get to every single progression if need be. Now, Washington Commanders not coming out playing a whole ton of man. This was a very zone-heavy script, and obviously we know that Patrick Mahomes is destroying zone right now. But look no further than Travis Kelce's longest reception of the night. That is a play that Travis Kelce is left in to block. He's sitting there. He's holding the point of attack pretty well. Patrick Mahomes goes through 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not there from any of those guys. Travis Kelce sees it, releases late into the flat. There's nobody there. He checks down. I put that in quotes. Checks down to Travis Kelce, who rumbles for over 30 yards on this play. And he got up. I mean, my man had, he was pumping those arms. He was really trying to put his whole body into moving downfield there. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen him be able to sit back in the pocket, get that kind of time, and find people in the route combination, even late. That means so much to this team right now. And even when you have a depleted offensive line, Mike Caliendo playing in place of Trey Smith, you've got Jalen Moore playing in place of Josh Simmons, it still feels like an offensive line that Patrick Mahomes implicitly trusts. That is so huge for this team. We've been saying it for a number of years. Like, they just got to figure this part out, this part out, or this part out. Just feels like it's all coming together and it's all clicking. Doesn't matter that it's against bad defenses. It doesn't matter if the pass rush isn't the most, prevalent pass. We're coming to some of those games. They are on the schedule. We're going to find out what that's all about. But where it is right now, that comfortability in the offense and Patrick Mahomes' ability to get through every single part of his progression and come back to some guys is massive, because this is just going to destroy all these defenses that have given him fits over the past 3 or 4 years when he had to get the ball out quick, and these guys just couldn't get open quickly enough.
Yeah, and like the Chiefs having a deep receiving, not just wide receiver, but like deep receiving room this year, a bunch of options, has been such a, it's different than years past, right? Like, even when this team has had a good passing attack in the past, there's been a focal point or 2 focal points. But now you're having a really hard time if your opposing defense is game planning against it. And this is something we talked about a little bit earlier in the week. You look at what Mahomes had to start this year. Mahomes is scrambling a lot. He's putting this offense on his back and running. So you make defenses have to now honor that. You also flash from Tyquan Thornton winning downfield. Defenses have to honor that. Defenses still do have to pay some attention to Travis Kelce. You're going to hone in mostly on Rashee Rice. But, oh, by the way, Xavier Worthy is a big play waiting to happen. So you have to pay attention to that a little bit. And while teams probably aren't spending a lot of time focusing on a Hollywood Brown or a Juju Smith-Schuster, you're seeing both of those guys make important big catches on third downs or in certain moments. So they just have so many options for this passing attack to funnel through. I mean, it's always going to funnel through Mahomes, but the way the offense is set up this year makes them uniquely difficult to stop. And I think a lot of credit goes to how they've built the team, but also just how Mahomes has played this year early on, making sure the defenses are going to respect everything from A to Z that this offense could possibly do. And now they're starting to maximize that as we get into the meat and potatoes of the schedule.
I think there's so much meat left on the bone too with this thing, man. I really do. I don't think they're close to complete, because I think there is that vertical element. We'll get back into the mix a little bit more, right? And I think there's more for Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy had a very quiet 5 for 53. I think there's other big games coming, especially as things kind of settle in with Rashee. This thing's going to be difficult to defend. I can't wait. She said 4 players catch a reception over 24 yards in this game against the Washington Commanders this week. Like it's not the deep vertical stuff, but they're still generating some explosives in the passing game, and that is we're just getting started. Chiefs are, by the way, 4-0 when someone other or 5-0 when someone other than Patrick Mahomes leads the team in rushing. By the way, here,
good play, good strategy.
Probably a good goal. Yeah.
I think it's funny is like this thing was a slog at the half, and Patrick Mahomes was leading the team in rushing at halftime of this Washington game.
And then what happened?
The Chiefs dropped 21 on the Washington Commanders, and they ran the football to great success.
But it wasn't even a slog, really. Like they moved the ball down the field just fine, and then threw a weird back shoulder interception. I don't know, bad, just weird. And then the next time they were kind of moving the ball a little bit, and then Kelsey undercuts his own receiver and tips the ball. Like, I don't even know if the offense was necessarily struggling in that game in the first half. It's just they made some costly mistakes and they tightened up. I would say that they definitely tightened up in the second half, and then they just kind of said, okay, we can't mess around anymore. And lo and behold, they did the second half thing to the Commanders, who, yikes.
60 minutes of that second half thing probably means a blowout against the Buffalo Bills. I would sign me up for that. I would be cool with them just marching up and down the field without any problem whatsoever. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know about you guys. I'm calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now and enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know the lovely people at GEHA. Check out their little opportunity here. Chiefs.com/GEHA. We're going to take a break. We will be previewing Chiefs Bills right after this.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight on Halloween. We appreciate y'all for spending some time with us. It is game preview edition time. Getting to do this a little bit later in the week. That's kind of fun. But yeah, we are going to ask questions on both sides of the football. One question for each of us. Here we go. Craig Stout, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, let's dive in with my question for the offense. Do the Chiefs focus on the run this week? The Buffalo Bills are terrible at defending the run. They really are really bad at really lining up and trying to stop anybody from running all over them. From an EPA per play perspective, they are 28th in the league. Yards wise, some of the more advanced metrics are even lower in some of these things. They are not good at defending the run. One of their saving graces for defending the run was defensive tackle Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver went on IR this week with a torn bicep. That really hurts this team on more ways than one. However, it makes their run defense that's already bad even worse. Conversely, Kansas City Chiefs have Isaiah Pacheco, who at the point of discussing this, we have not seen on the field in a full capacity. So is Isaiah Pacheco going to be able to play? Is this going to be a scenario where he can line up and run the ball? Chiefs run game is going to be a question mark as well, because they're, typical starting running back isn't there. A running back room of Kareem Hunt, Rashard Smith, and Elijah Mitchell, if he gets called up in this game, is not, striking fear in the hearts of most teams. But against the Buffalo Bills, it might, because they're that bad against the run. Not a run-heavy team going up against a terrible run defense that got worse, but the run-heavy team also got worse. This is kind of one of these has to win out. With the Chiefs' focus on trying to run the ball a little bit more, Andy Reid said it at halftime of the Washington Commanders game, said, hey, almost like he's kicking himself a little bit. He's like, I got to run the ball more. Like, I got to do a better job of running the ball more. They come out with a focus in the second half. We see the offense look really good doing it. Are they going to try and line up against this Bills defense that can be got on multiple levels, but really against the run, and try and pound the rock more than a typical Chiefs offense, because they know they're just going to be able to get it even with a depleted running back room?
Maddie, normally I let you jump in after Craig, but I really want to jump in here real quick. Okay. Because I was asked this exact same question on the radio today with Jason.
Oh, me and Jason Anderson are so much the same.
You're both tall. One of you has hair. One of you has a beard.
It's me.
I was asked this
They
question.
both have hair.
I was asked this question on this show today. And here's the thing, guys. How many times have we asked this question or a similar question in the history of the Andy Reid era when it makes the most sense in the world to run the football a lot more than they have? How many? Dozens of shows.
Hold on.
5 things. I bet you we've get 25 things with this very question over the course of KCSN's history. Do you know what the answer has been every single time except the one game against the Buffalo Bills when no fans were there and they just ran the football in 2020 with Clyde Edwards-Helaire 86,000 times? That is the one time in the history
game.
That was it. Every other time in the history of this team. Do you know what the answer's been? No, they will not. They will not run the football more.
There was no fans to impress.
That makes sense. All three of us could be on the defensive front for the Buffalo Bills. You know what they would do? Swing routes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's fair. I did say more than usual. Not necessarily that they were going to come out and run the ball 40 times. Just
no, Craig. They won't. Matt?
Oh, is it my turn now? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if they're having success on the ground, they will probably run the ball a little bit more. I think you've actually seen a little bit of a shift.
Yell at him.
I think we've seen
Maddie,
a little bit of a shift.
Pause. Hold on. Maddie, you're like the most historic, history, the history of this team. When have they ever done this? This is like your thing. And you're all of a sudden just like, no, maybe. No, we're flipping roles. We switched roles. I went second.
Listen to me right now, Ken. I'm taking up the entire screen with my head. If there was ever a time that they would do this, this is the game, because over the past few matchups with the Buffalo Bills, the Chiefs have resorted to trying to control the game. They have tried to control the clock. They have tried to hold the ball, because I think they realize that Josh Allen has a pretty good read on Steve Spagnuolo. Not perfect, but a pretty good read. There has been a increase in how efficient Allen has been against Spags over the past 2 to 3 years now.
Except that fourth down last year.
I think the Chiefs would like to control the narrative and have this game script covered. So if they have success on the ground, I could see them leaning on it. Now, if they come out and their first 3 runs are inside zone for a combined 7 yards, no, it's probably out the door. Andy Reid probably tears that chunk of his little Cheesecake Factory menu off and throws it away. And it never comes up again. But if they do have some success, like every single other team that the Bills have played this year on the ground, I do think they might run the ball a little bit more early in this game, just trying to do just that, control the game a little bit. Plus the Bills safeties play historically deep for some reason, just absolutely ridiculously deep. They are so deep. It's insane. So you kind of got to try a little bit here to start this game.
Yeah, so deep they put your ass to sleep. Okay, point to Maddie for that one. So
Back on the board.
You got some catch up to do here, buddy.
That was a lot of words for the answer to just be no. The answer's no. They won't. I don't see. Throw my question up. Wow. All right. I got a little creative with this one, gentlemen. The Chiefs' longest pass play over under when you go to DraftKings, it's 36.5 yards. What side are you taking? And really what I'm trying to ask here, I know that there's a lot of run after the catch, and we saw that last week. But I think the vertical passing game's in play this week. I think the downfield passing game is available this week. I think we can see them hitting a big explosive play. Tyquan Thornton, a play with more air yards even than this. Craig Stout, what are you taking on 36.5 yards over under longest pass play for the Kansas City Chiefs? I
think it's very funny that it took this many weeks for Kent to put a betting prop as his question. I kind of figured we would have hit that before now, based on our.
I thought it would be a fun. I just thought it would be a fun way to just kind of mix things up a little bit with.
Sure, I'm going to say under. I am going to say under here. And the reason I'm going to say under is exactly what Maddie mentioned there. These safeties play so deep, they're going to throw everything underneath. I think we're going to see a lot of Rashee Rice with Yak, but that's a lot. That's a lot of Yak there. Not to say he's not capable of doing it. He certainly is. But they're going to try and put this umbrella on top of the offense, and they're going to try and keep everything underneath, and again, try and make the Chiefs nickel and dime them. If the Chiefs are able to run the ball, I 100% think that this becomes more likely because the Buffalo Bills at a certain point are going to have to kick a safety down into the box or reduce that depth of those safeties if the Chiefs are just running like crazy over them. Now we start bringing into the equation Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton. If he sees the field this week, we'll see on all of that. But that is when it's got to all come together there. If this is a neutral game script, if Kent, like you are saying there, they are not going to run the ball. Period.
Ever.
They're not.
Ever.
Ever. Hey, look, they're going to run the ball as much as Broderick Martin is going to see the field. So
I think Broderick Martin has a better chance of playing than the Chiefs ready. I love you, Broderick. I don't know how this became a
You
thing.
are lying.
No, you just did it.
I'm sorry, friend.
But if they really do try and focus on not running the ball, like if it is becoming more of a neutral script for the Chiefs, where they typically have a lot more passing, I think we are going to see a lot quicker passes. They're going to try and stretch them horizontally a little bit more. Going to try and, because the Buffalo Bills don't have a ton of team speed out there on defense. So there's lots of ways that you can beat them, with the safeties being that deep as well. I think it will be a lot of chunk plays. I think if you wanted to tell me that every player that caught up more than one pass had a 15-yard game, let's say that. If you got 2 receptions, one of them is at least 15 yards, I believe that. I just think that we're talking about a team that's going to come out with a focal point, just saying, because they're already doing it with everybody else, let alone the Chiefs. Keep a lid on this. Don't get beat deep and then try and, play otherwise.
Were we betting for air yards or just overall long distance?
Just overall.
Yeah, give me the over. I think somebody catches. I think there's a very good chance that you have one of those plays like where Travis Kelce the past couple weeks has leaked out across the formation on like the 5-second over routes, or Rashee Rice catches one with a little bit of space and he breaks a terrible tackle attempt from one of those 2 god awful safeties, and goes for over that. Now, do I think they necessarily catch one in the air? Well, we'll see when we get to my question here in a second. I don't want to upset Tuck, but in a second, but I don't know if the Chiefs are really going to air it out versus this team. I think the Bills coverage unit has been relatively like, hey, let's keep stuff in front of us at this point in time. We're not too keen on letting things get over the top. So I don't think you get an air yard pass. I don't know if this is the week where I would expect them to really start airing it back out to Tyquan Thornton, but I do think they have a catch and run that goes over that. I wanted to ask you, Kent, since you're a big betting guy and you think the Chiefs will never run the football ever again. Over under
betting again, but let's hear it. Yeah.
Over under 19 running back carries for the Chiefs in this game.
I gotta take the under.
Coward.
Have to.
Oh man. Okay. Well, point to me for that question. Kit, you really got to catch up, buddy. Sorry.
You do. You're digging a hole. Duncan, let's throw my question up. Maybe Caitlin can get one here. Doubt it, but we can try. Correct. So my question is, like, what's the Chiefs' plan on like third and medium and long? So one thing that the Bills have been pretty good at this year is getting off the field in the red zone or holding teams to field goals, but their third down defense anywhere else in the field not been particularly great. They have not been great on third downs, but if we remember correctly, last year in the regular season, playoffs doesn't quite count, but in the regular season, the Bills played man coverage on third downs over 50% against the Chiefs in that regular season matchup, and there was some issues the Chiefs had getting open against it. I wonder this year, they have Maxwell Hairston back now. They brought Tre'Davious White back, who hasn't played great, but he's back. Taron Johnson's healthy. They have their full like arsenal of cornerbacks. I wonder if they go more man heavy on third down again, like they have done in specific matchups against the Chiefs, and just to see and challenge the Chiefs receivers to beat them. So if that's the case, how do the Chiefs get out of that bind? How do the Chiefs start beating man coverage when it's not 3rd and 3 and they can just run mesh over and over again or try to leak a running back out of the flat? What is the plan to pick up 6-7+ yards if they are facing a lot of man coverage from this Bills defense?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the Chiefs have been just terrible against man this year. For as awesome as they've been against zone, they've been equally as bad against man. Patrick Mahomes makes it work. We've seen some productivity out of man coverage, but really all of the biggest plays that we're remembering are coming because they're doing a great job against zone. This is a defense that is getting a little bit healthier in the secondary, that is playing a little bit better in the secondary. You know, as bad as some of their defensive metrics are, their drop back EPA, when they've got more or less the complement of players that you would expect back there, has been fine. You know, it really has been pretty okay, you know, league average there. So yeah, this is a situation Buffalo Bills like to come out, like to throw a few curveballs at the Kansas City Chiefs, try and catch them a little bit off guard, you know. So this would be one that they could try and throw at the Chiefs, play some more man coverage. This team is not good at shaking man coverage. We all love Rashee Rice. He's not a man coverage beater. He is his own guy. Xavier Worthy can be a man coverage beater, but he hasn't shown it so far in his young NFL career. Could get there, absolutely. And then Travis Kelce was the guy that they relied on doing that in the past, and he's frankly lost a step. So you're looking at a bunch of situations where you don't have good man coverage beaters. You have a team that's getting a little healthier there. We could just see a lot of man coverage on third downs against the Chiefs until the Chiefs absolutely destroy them on it. Maybe they've got a different thing up their sleeves they've been saving for the Buffalo Bills, could be. But until they prove that, a wise defensive coordinator would show up and just say, hey, listen, I know that we're a little bit more zone heavy. I know we try to be a zone team. Tre'Davious White is certainly more of a zone corner than man corner, but let's go out there and let's see if we can match up against this team that frankly just struggles to beat even, soft man coverage that's not particularly good. We can at least do that and put them in this scenario.
We've seen Tyquan Thornton get off the line of scrimmage with some success and some opportunities here, and I look at this very slow Bills secondary. I was on with Cover One guys this week, and they were talking about how slow this team is outside of Maxwell Hairston. And so maybe in man coverage situations, they try to get Maxwell Hairston involved with Xavier Worthy just to be able to match from a speed perspective. But I don't know, maybe both of these two conversations can combine together a little bit. This over 36.5 passing play, and maybe it's against man coverage, because you talk about what the plan is on third and short or third and medium to long. If they do try to play a little bit of man coverage, there might be an opportunity to take the top off and just go get a big play. Go big game hunting with a Xavier Worthy in a Tyquan Thornton. One of those two get an opportunity down the field on one of these third down scenarios. Hey, you're going to play man coverage and you're going to get, I don't know, Christian Benford or the ghost of Tre'Davious White to try to chase Tyquan Thornton. All right, let's find out. Sign me up. I'm interested in seeing how that goes, especially with the way that Patrick Mahomes has been throwing the football. All right, offensive players to watch. What you got, Craig?
Oh, I didn't get to award a point there. I mean, Kit,
well,
in a shocking turn of events, you got the point.
We didn't.
It's
No,
across
it wasn't
the board.
official.
I was going to give
No.
it to him, but
We moved on.
he hurried.
I'll be honest with
Man.
you. I'll be honest with
He
you.
blew the
Greg.
whistle.
So
It's after the whistle.
It's after the whistle.
I
We
think,
played between the whistles, Kent.
I think New York called in and gave me a point. That's
I
what
don't
I
think
think.
so.
I think
I'll have to take that under consideration for later.
Look,
So
I know. I already know what's going to happen anyway. I don't want to play. I don't want to play. I'm
What are you
so.
I want to be
about?
like Broderick Martin and not play.
what are you talking about? My player to watch for this week for the Kansas City Chiefs offense is Brashard Smith. I know we've talked about him. We've nominated him multiple times. We got to see a little bit more Brashard Smith between the tackles because the Chiefs have been winning by so much lately that he's gotten into the game and gotten some work between the tackles. Has been awesome. Not saying he's been a revelation there, but when you get to layer that on top of the other stuff that they're doing with him, that really is working. I really love his deployment in the rest of the kind of first team offense there. I've really liked what we've seen. That next logical step would be trying to add in a little bit more between the tackles and keep defenses honest. Because at a certain point, they're going to see Brashard Smith on the field and go, okay, well, we can basically abandon the middle of the field here and know that he's going to be outside the tackles. They're going to be trying to throw him the ball outside. Get it going in between the tackles against a bad run defense. Try and line up, run him just a few more times. I'm asking for 3 or 4 carries between the tackles for Brashard Smith. Nothing big. See what comes of that, but make future defenses have to keep things honest and be able to get him in this game and prevent the Buffalo Bills from just being able to tee off, run the alley, and stop him. Because again, as we've talked about, the more you can do to keep your offense unpredictable, then the more the basic stuff works.
Maddie is out for a second, so I'll go ahead and give mine. I'll go with Jalen Moore. I think this is another big opportunity for Jalen Moore. This is a defensive line that maybe doesn't have like a ton of juice, right? But like they've got some capable bodies. Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt coming back. Like there's some, and AJ Epinesa, some different body types, some different styles of play a little bit there. There's some challenges on the defensive line for this group, and Jalen Moore has had a very good start to his time here in Kansas City playing as the left tackle. And Maddie talked a little bit about it, on our show that, this week. I think the Bills are really good at quick pressure. And hi, Tuck. And look, I think if you're going to get Jalen Moore, that's a place that you can get him, right? So if they're able to generate quick pressure, I think that can create a problem for them. So give me Jalen Moore as my player to watch. And if he can continue to sustain the success that he has, continue to be competitive, play in and play out, which is all you can ask from him, keep doing that. And I think good things will happen for this team. Oh, hi, Maddie.
Yo, what's going on? Cool to be back here. I didn't hear you took, so I'm going to take Jalen Moore as my player to watch. I think Jalen Moore is a great pick here. I know I said it first. Ken definitely didn't say it before me because he's going to be matched up with Joey Bosa a lot, who's been like the primary pass rusher, the best pass rusher for the Bills. And if we were going back to what we were talking about, that man coverage thing before the game got prematurely ended, before the points could be awarded, when they do play man coverage, they like to play 2-man a lot, which means there's going to be 2 deep safeties. That means they got to get pressure with 4. If they don't want Patrick Mahomes running around, they got to contain him. They got to get pressure with 4. That means Joey Bosa has to get there quick. Jalen Moore is going to draw that assignment quite a bit. So I would go with Jalen Moore for my player to watch. Now, if somebody were to take him before I could get that off my chest, I would have to come back and say, give me Travis Kelce. I think he's on a good run right now. He's just, he seems to be feeling it, being like this kind of second, third option in the passing game. So I think Kelce might be due for another big game if I can't take Jalen Moore.
You can.
Jalen Moore.
Yeah, you're fine, Maddie. No one said it.
Okay, perfect.
It's all good.
Tucker, erase the Kelce part and just keep the Jalen Moore part in. We're good.
Love it. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Chiefs Kingdom, what is your favorite touchdown? By now, you guys already know that my favorite touchdown is the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. You want spreads? They got it. Over-unders? DraftKings got you covered. Same-game parlays, regular parlays? DraftKings has it, and you need it. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Thanks, everyone, hanging out with us tonight on a Halloween. Hanging out here, previewing
Jalen Moore.
Chiefs, Bills. Jalen Moore. He doesn't play defense.
Okay.
We're talking defense now, Maddie. Sorry, didn't know if you knew that. How about? Let's get things going. You know what? I'll establish the run early. Let me go with my question first.
No, you already said that they're not establishing the run. It's not happening. Pitt.
No, the Chiefs aren't.
Oh,
The Bills might. Here's my question to you, gentlemen. How do the Chiefs handle the Bills' heavy personnel? The Buffalo Bills have a very good tight end group and a very unique tight end group that is capable of blocking effectively. Jackson Hawes is one of the best blocking tight ends in football already, and he's just a rookie. Granted, he's Maddie's age. Dawson Knox, also a pretty capable blocker. And then Dalton Kincaid is not like the best blocker, but he's part of that group, right? Like they like to get into their heavy personnel and run the football, and they've got a couple really good blocking tight ends and also Dalton Kincaid. This is a big challenge, I think, for the Chiefs and like how they're trying to handle this group, right? Because like I think that, the Bills want to run some tight ends out there sometimes. They want to try to get in there, and I think James Cook has had some success running the football when they're in some of these personnel groupings. It's even a bigger problem down in the red. Running those big tight ends down in the red, it gives them some versatility there. So, how do you think the Chiefs are going to handle this 13 personnel? Craig, what do you think they're going to do?
Oh, man. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of, the walked up Leo Chanel on the line of scrimmage. That's not uncommon based on what they've defended heavy personnel with. But I also think we're going to see a lot more single high against this offense. And they can get away with that with this set of wide receivers right now. There's not a set of wide receivers that is going to just scream down the sidelines and Josh Allen's going to throw it 85 yards down the field. And, other games that you may think of where the Chiefs played the Bills where they needed to keep a too high shell and everything over the top. I think they can play a little more readily with a single high safety, kicking guys down to the box, more 8-man boxes to try and counter this. My question is, can they? The Chiefs have struggled against heavy personnel this year when they've had to go up against, especially, when they've been in these kind of two-back scenarios, like when Reggie Gilliam comes on the field, their fullback as well. That's heavy personnel as well. They've really struggled against two-back scenarios. They've struggled with those extra gaps. They've struggled a little bit with 13 personnel, extra offensive linemen. These are all things that the Buffalo Bills do readily. They run out of, and they really like to throw a lot of misdirection on these looks as well. You're in your base defense. You're limited in what your defensive coordinator has installed. I mean, that's common for every defense across the league. Steve Spagnuolo's got a giant playbook. Does not matter. If you're in your base defense, there's only so many things that he's going to be able to run out of that given the current facet of the NFL. They are going to not be able to get into their blitz packages, and you're going to put some of these linebackers in coverage. So lots of these, kind of screen looks that they throw pop passes over the top. They do that a lot right now. James Cook is excellent running the ball and put his foot in the ground, even on the interior, and bounce things outside and really do some damage. This is one where the Chiefs have to just be incredibly gap sound. And Mike Pennell coming back helps with that immensely. They can line up with two bigger guys on the interior. You don't have to rely on Chris Jones to just kind of penetrate and force a running back one way or the other. That's a positive thing, but also leave behind a gap that if he's not able to penetrate and force a running back there, then it can lead to a bigger play. You can play a couple more bigger bodies on the inside, knowing that, Josh Allen's going to be able to shrug off pressure and things like that, usually anyway. Try and play against these heavier personnel with those bigger looks on the inside. Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell next to each other to try and plug things up and really kind of just try and contain things on the interior.
Just like Kent says that the Chiefs never run the ball, even though we've asked for 27,000 times for them to do so, we do talk about how teams can use heavy personnel and get the Chiefs defense to get Spags out of his blitz stuff, out of his funky looks, force him to play base personnel and be a little bit more straight up. And yeah, that is typically what you like to do. And I still think you should try to do that against the Chiefs this year. I will say, the way they've been run blitzing this year from the Lions game on has been pretty good. The way they're like slanting linebackers instead of blitzing them straight downhill, and it's working really well. Like they've been really mucking up some rush lanes from some of these teams over the past couple weeks. So they do seem to have a pretty decent counter this year when teams try to do that. Now, the Bills are one of the best teams at it. And so are the Lions. The Bills are good going with heavy personnel. They are well above league average in 22 personnel, 4 personnel, 13 personnel. But I did notice something kind of interesting. On all of those, they're very run heavy. Like it's not even close really to 50-50. They are very run heavy. So it's not a full on tell, and you can't sell out to stop the run because there's Josh Allen. There's always the threat of a big play, but you can kind of lean towards having to stop the run. They go into heavy personnel. They're not throwing out of it quite as much as like the Chiefs. When they get into heavy personnel, they're still looking to throw the ball plenty. So that is just something to keep an eye on, as the trends seem to say that the Bills aren't quite as, attacking you both ways coming out of that. So something worth monitoring going forward and just trying to slow down specifically the Bills run game. And we're going to do my question next. Slow down the Bills.
Well, hang on. I did not award points. Why is everybody moving on for points?
Oh, no points. Sorry. Okay. Oh, darn. I guess Craig and I are just tied at 1 and you have 0.
We
Moving
are
on,
tied
no
at
points.
1. That was going to be Maddie's point, but he moved on too quickly.
I'm okay. I want to be tied with Craig. As long as we're ahead of you, it's a win. So we're going to go on to my point now. Stopping the Bills' best offensive player, James Cook, not Joshua Allen. James Cook's been phenomenal for the Bills this year. He's been one of the league's best running backs. The more work he gets, the better the offense looks. You look at some of the games where the offense has struggled a little bit. It's been when James Cook's success rate dips below 45%. Specifically, the Falcons game, it was actually pretty high, but they stopped running him in the second half, and the offense could muster nothing. So it has been this year when the entire plate gets shoved into Josh Allen right now, he hasn't been executing this offense at quite a high level. So if you make them more one-dimensional, if you can make Josh Allen do everything, which he is fully capable of doing, but if you can make him be their entire offense, the Bills have struggled a little bit more this year than years past. They've been a lot better when they can lean on the run game. They can let Josh Allen play off of James Cook's success. So going back to stopping heavier personnel, even out of 11 personnel, you got to stop James Cook first. Stop him first. Do Josh Allen second. And see where that gets you, because some teams, the Falcons, the Patriots, have had success doing that. Even the Ravens, to start the season, when they were to start the game, they were stopping James Cook, and Josh Allen, he brought them back later. But when it was still a close game, it was stopping James Cook first and foremost. So I just think that's something worth note, and why Josh Allen isn't on the same level as Patrick Mahomes, because nobody's ever tried to stop Isaiah Pacheco.
Well, that's true. I mean, people have tried to stop Isaiah Pacheco, but you don't build the game plan out of that.
Pacheco stopped Pacheco.
Well, Andy Reid tries to stop Pacheco because he never runs the ball, according to Kent. So.
That's true. Ever. James Cook, according to metrics out there, EPA per play with him on the field, 0.243 for the Buffalo Bills. For reference, the Chiefs' last 4 weeks, when we've just been fawning over this offense, it has been an EPA per play of 0.239. So James Cook on the field is better on a per play basis, and granted the Chiefs take their foot off the gas the past couple of weeks and all of that, than the Chiefs offense that we have just been fawning over. When he's off the field, it is 0.042. Like, it's bad. It's actively bad when James Cook is not on the field. That doesn't mean when he's touching the ball, just when he's on the field, because he is a gravitational pull right now. You have to account for him. You have to build the game plan out of stopping James Cook. Josh Allen is going to get his. Steve Spagnuolo, he even admitted, I can call a perfect game, and Josh is going to solve it sometimes. We've seen this. We've seen this time and time again. It doesn't mean you don't try and limit Josh a little bit more, but the funnel of this offense right now is through James Cook and through this run game and short passing game to James Cook. What he is doing right now is the engine of this offense. I know that this sounds just absolutely freaking wild that I'm about to say this, but go make Josh Allen beat you without James Cook. That's what you have to do right now against this team. That's what teams have done. That's where they found success. James Cook getting the ball 20 times in this game is bad for the Chiefs. I'm telling you that right now. Yes, we hope that they bottle him up. They hope that you contain him, all of that. If he's touching the ball 20 times, the rest of this season, all 8 weeks of this season so far that we have seen, have said that there are very few other running backs in this league or players in offenses in this league that have had as much of an impact on the offense as James Cook has for the Buffalo Bills.
And I think the Chiefs have done a pretty good job against running backs and like teams really intent on just, on running the football. Like I think the Chiefs have done a pretty good job. And sometimes the offensive game script kind of necessitates that a little bit for these teams. And that kind of helps eliminate a little bit of that. And I think we've seen that in the past too. But yeah, like if you can, and like the Chiefs are going to have a good plan. Like this is Steve Spagnuolo. He wants to earn the right to rush that passer. He wants to earn the right to get into that bag. And you've got to do that early on early downs. So I do think that the Chiefs will be intent on stopping the run and stopping James Cook and trying to put this team into advantageous positions in late passing downs, especially since the skill players have been very underwhelming for the Buffalo Bills. There's not a dominant receiver. There's not a dominant pass catcher for this team. I think Khalil Shakir has some ability after the catch, but not a ton of dynamic ability down the field. You've got Dalton Kincaid, who's flashed some moments, but there's really just not a great group of skill players around Josh Allen in the passing game. So if you can kind of take James Cook out of the equation as much as you can, yeah, you're going to be put in some really good situations. I think those pass catchers will let him down. Will let Josh down some too. So, hey, he's kind of having an experience what Mahomes has had to in the past. Not so fun, is it? Huh? Dropping a few games, huh?
Gonna say that was a very Chiefs positive comment there, Kent. Point to you, buddy. We're even across the board going into the final question here. Coming from me, Tuck. Does Spags have a specific defensive back deployment? And I know that we look at this set of weapons. And this is why you had such a great point, Kent, because it was segueing perfectly into my question. Joshua Palmer is practicing this week very lightly. That is according to Elena Getzenberg, ESPN reporter for the Buffalo Bills, saying that he did some light work, very light work, kind of indicating he would have to take some massive strides there, on Friday in order to kind of go into this. So, when we look at this pass catcher group, it's Keon Coleman that right now is a back shoulder fade merchant. We've got Khalil Shakir.
Not even a good merchant.
Not even a good merchant at that. Khalil Shakir, who's a really good wide receiver and, kind of the go-to guy for that. And then you're getting into Tyrell Shavers, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore. This is why they're leaning into more, 12 and 13 personnel, because Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox being on the field are better than having, Tyrell Shavers and Curtis Samuel on the field. There is going to be specific matchups here. This is a game that when the Buffalo Bills go heavy, I'm saying you have Trent McDuffie follow Khalil Shakir around. Just completely follow him. It's a really good matchup. Khalil Shakir, very dynamic, is able to kind of break some stuff off, works in and out of the slot. He's a guy that can really work out of there. Trent McDuffie can work in and out of the slot. Meanwhile, Keon Coleman is a guy that is going to try and win at the catch point. Give me Jalen Watson against that guy. Try and line up with him. Play physical against Keon Coleman. Make him make those catches at the catch point or try and gain separation. He can't do that right now. Then you got to have somebody like a Chamari Connor that is dedicated to one of these tight ends, or a Jaden Hicks, or a Brian Cook, who likes to play a lot more single high. Come out with a game plan of following these guys right now. Buffalo is going to try and get these matchups. They're going to try and get Dawson Knox against, Nick Bolton. It's going to happen sometimes because that's just going to be the nature of a blitz or a coverage call or something like that. But by and large, I think you can feel comfortable playing a little bit of man against these guys and being able to have the upper hand with this cornerback group, with this safety group. Make Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills win through their tight ends. They're capable of it, but force them to have to throw to Khalil Shakir against the Chiefs' best cornerback, throw these 50-50 balls up the sidelines to a guy that's going to play the ball really well at the catch point in Jalen Watson, and try and make them earn it a little more with these weapons, because we haven't seen them consistently do it all year long.
It will frustrate me a little bit to see more than a handful of snaps where Khalil Shakir is lined up on the outside versus even Jalen Watson, who I think has been pretty good, or Noel Williams, or whatever it may be, like, or in the slot versus Chamari Connor. Let me vaguely anywhere. If he's being lined up anywhere, it's not Trent McDuffie more than a handful of times. It's going to be frustrating because there's no reason not to have McDuffie follow him around. This isn't like some of the other teams where you're worried about putting him in the slot and he's going to get blocked by a big slot receiver. And not that Trent McDuffie can't handle that. Like, there's no reason you're worried about McDuffie in any part of this matchup versus Shakir, and that is the matchup that you obviously want. You look at Palmer if he's healthy, or if it's Gabe Davis filling in, or Keon Coleman, you really like your matchups of Noel Williams and Jalen Watson outside versus those types of receivers. Like, the Chiefs finally have multiple cornerbacks on the outside. We saw Trent McDuffie, very good corner. He got beat by Matt Collins because he's just not big enough for a perfectly placed ball by a big receiver. Guess who is? Noel Williams, Jalen Watson. So you let your big corners play on the outside versus these big, I guess, vertical but contested catch vertical receivers of the Buffalo Bills. You let your big corners handle that. Trent McDuffie stays on Khalil Shakir. You feel good, pretty good about that. My concern for the Chiefs DBs comes in on second reaction plays, because Josh Allen is really good at finding insert random tight end / fullback / wide receiver 6 downfield on broken plays. And you will have to handle two different tight ends. Dalton Kincaid can't block, as Kent told us, but he's a decent receiver. And Dawson Knox is a capable receiver. Getting those guys on Chamari Connor, or getting Jaden Hicks maybe falling asleep a little bit, or whatever it may be. I just don't want to see those safeties that have been rotating a ton getting caught sleeping or not ready for a matchup as the play might extend. So I'm actually really looking for Brian Cook to play more. He keeps getting pulled for a couple series every game. And for a while, I theorized that it was just entirely like, hey, we got to go adjust the defense, then we'll put him back in like they used to do to Nick Bolton. It seems like it's more than that, because it's happening more than just a series here and there. They are actively rotating in Hicks, but even more so Christian Roland Wallace. And I don't have a problem with either of those players seeing more time. Just Brian Cook is the most, I think, reliable safety this team has, especially in coverage. I trust him the most to do what he's supposed to. So it's really weird that they keep cycling him out, but this might be a game where you lean on his leadership and like veteran ability in the back end, so you don't get beaten over the top by Elijah Moore or whoever their tight end 3 is in this particular game.
I hope we don't see a ton of Chamari Connor slot reps this week, knowing that they have a good running back and knowing that this is one of their best skill player. Chamari Connor could not cover a field out route to save his life last time that these two teams matched up in the regular season. The Chiefs did a pretty good job mitigating it, but one of the things I do worry about is like Dalton Kincaid on a field out route against Chamari Connor is a losing proposition. Yeah. And that was available all day to the Bills last time that these two teams matched up. So I just worry about, like, Josh is one of those quarterbacks that can just hit that consistently without any problem. And so if he's able to hit that route all day, that's one of those things that like is going to help the Bills sustain offense and sustain drives. So the deployment of the defensive backs, hey, like they like to have Shamari in the slot when it's a team that runs the football well and has a good running back. Well, everyone was open. I mean, Dawson Knox, I think, got a filled out last time around, right? So just try to mitigate that as best you can. All right, defensive players to watch. What you got, Craig?
Moving on past the points again.
Good.
Trying to tie this up. No.
Repeat offender.
Repeat offender as a part of this. No, I am interjecting here. New York is calling down. We're not running the next play yet. Surprise! Kent and Maddie get a point. I lose. The game goes to Kent and Maddie. Kent, the first time you have ever won one of these games, and you have to share it with Maddie. How does it feel, buddy?
I'm trying to leave. Hold on.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I needed that. Thank you.
Yep. I knew you did, buddy. I knew you did. Hey, Maddie, come back. Hey, thanks, buddy.
It's ridiculous.
Places to watch. My player to watch.
Maddie.
Participation trophies. The world's so soft these days.
Listen, you both went into overtime. You couldn't score. It happens. Look at.
Oh, now we're tying?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Disgusting.
Kid is very excited about this right now. My player to watch is George Karlaftis, and not just because you hope that George Karlaftis has a good day rushing the passer, because right now he is the most consistent edge rusher that the Chiefs have. And it's also very hard to bring down Josh Allen. We saw the Chiefs struggle to bring down Marcus Mariota last week. Yikes. This is not a guy that you want to see next on the schedule there. No, it's about stopping the run with George Karlaftis and making sure that you set that edge. I mentioned that I think the Chiefs are going to play a little bit more heavy in the middle of this, especially when the Buffalo Bills go with this heavy personnel. I would like to see scenarios where the Chiefs have 3 down linemen. We see maybe George Karlaftis kick out an extra gap. So this backup offensive lineman or this third tight end, as good as Jackson Hawes is at blocking right now, that's still George Karlaftis against a tight end, and you hope that he is going to win that matchup 9 times out of 10. A big game, setting the edge, keeping things contained, and keeping James Cook from being able to put his foot in the ground and basically bounce something outside, force DBs to miss. Stop him in the backfield, keep him contained back there so that Nick Bolton, Leo Chanel, Drew Tranquil, and some of these run blitzes can come up and make plays. George Karlaftis against the run game may be kind of a tide-turning element of this, especially if they can get him against some of these backup players or tight ends that are blocking across from him.
What you got, Manny?
Oh, me. Surprising. Give me Nick Bolton. We talked a lot about stopping the run game. We talked a lot about heavy personnel. It's not always the area where Nick Bolton excels the most in the run game, right? Like he's a better run defender kind of in space, or when there is space to shoot gaps, to fly downhill. When he's dealing with traffic, it gets a little bit more up and down. He doesn't always love contact of blockers, so it'll be important for him to not avoid contact, to not get blown off, not the line of scrimmage, but get blown out of the hole and allow James Cook or whoever's running to pick up 6-7 yards untouched, but also in coverage. Like in multiple matchups against the Bills in the past, there's been a drive or two where it's just been, hey, we're going to make Nick Bolton cover. That's our entire plan on this drive, is to make Nick Bolton cover. And he has not always answered the call. So I think this game, if he can not be that guy, if there cannot be the Nick Bolton attack drive in this game, if he can show up in the run game and some of the heavier personnel, I think that'll go a long way in allowing the Chiefs to stop James Cook and then allow them to focus on taking away the passing game and constricting stuff, especially if the offense helps me get out to an early lead.
Big Mike Pennell.
Mm-hmm.
We've not talked enough today about Mike Pennell's return, and I'm excited to watch the big dog on the interior of this defensive line. It's been such a weird, tumultuous, whatever's gone on this entire season with the Mike Pennell saga, but he's back. Chris Jones is happy. I'm looking to see what the vibes of that defensive line look like, but I'm interested to see how Mike Pennell holds up against the run. Can he provide some? Can he provide a bolstering of this defensive line in the run game? They badly, need more production on their interior, especially with the loss of Omar Norman-Lott. They need bodies there. They need capable bodies. And we've seen Mike Pennell have a lot of success here in Kansas City. And I know I'm here talking about a guy that's going to play 28% of the snaps in this game. But I'm here to watch the return of Mike Pennell, see how he performs and how big of a contribution he's able to make immediately for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's game prediction time. Are we handing out points, Craig?
No, the points were you and Maddie tied. It's game over.
We're not doing any. Okay.
No, I lost. You begging for points makes me want to take one away, though.
That would be a fitting ending.
Yeah, it would be a fitting end. It's too bad I'm not going to do that. Game predictions.
Thanks, man.
This is going to be a really fun game. Like, I really believe this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be tense. Chiefs fans, enjoy the low blood pressure that you've had the past couple of weeks in the middle of the third quarter. That's been really nice for you to just kind of sit back and know that everything's on lock. Everything's good. This is going to be a back and forth game. I really, truly believe that. The Buffalo Bills offense is really good. A lot of the things that they do from a misdirection standpoint, the way they can play out of heavy personnel, just it is not a great matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Conversely, the Buffalo Bills defense is not good. It's just not. It's not very good. And the Kansas City Chiefs offense is humming right now. So I have to give the advantage to the team that has the wider gap, the wider margin between the opposition there. And the Kansas City Chiefs have that between their offense and the Buffalo Bills defense. Yes, that secondary is getting healthier. It's getting a little bit better. But overall, this defense is not in the same caliber as the Kansas City Chiefs offense, whereas the Kansas City Chiefs defense may put up a little bit more of a fight. We're talking about a couple of drives that I think are going to matter in this game, and I trust Steve Spagnuolo and the Kansas City Chiefs defense to step up in a couple of drives and do just enough against Josh Allen and James Cook to make this a game that the Kansas City Chiefs win. Buffalo Bills score a lot of points. Chiefs are going to have to score a lot of points too. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs 38, Buffalo Bills 35, that Bills touchdown that cuts it to, from a 10-point game down to a 3-point game happens with less than a minute left to go in the game.
Maddie.
I think that this game goes the same way that a lot of these other Chiefs games have gone recently. It starts out, it looks like both offenses are going to kind of go back and forth for a little bit. The Bills maybe have some success on their first drive or two, and Steve Spagnuolo really starts to dial it in. I think defensively, the Chiefs might be able to do the same thing to the Bills they've done to a lot of teams, just kind of constrict them down a little bit. If they don't let James Cook run wild on them, I don't know if I think the Bills passing game this year has been so good that they are just going to pick apart this Chiefs defense, that they are going to be able to just go up and down the field only through the air. So I do think as the game goes on, you will see margins get a little bit tighter for the Bills. You'll start to see them press a little bit. And I don't know if it'll necessarily lead to interceptions or turnovers, but I do think the Chiefs defense is actually going to start getting a bunch of stops, not a bunch, but a couple stops in a row. They're going to slow down this Bills offense, I think, as the game keeps going a little bit, and it'll be a little bit of a shock for everybody because that's not usually how these games have gone. But I do think Spagnuolo has a few things up his sleeve. I like how they've been approaching the run game, and like I said earlier, I think if you slow down James Cook and make Josh Allen beat you this year, but do so intelligently, I do think that's a way that you can attack the Bills. On the flip side, I just don't see where this Bills defense stops the Chiefs offense. Like, I've really tried to wrap my head around this and come away that we can get a 1-score game out of this somehow. It'll be really close. It'll come down to a last-second field goal like it always seems to. I just don't know where this Bills defense is getting the stops against the Chiefs right now. So I think the Chiefs are going to be able to go out there. They're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field with consistency. They're going to cash in the red zone. They are going to score a good chunk of points in this game. And I think everybody's really going to be put on their heels about how good this Chiefs team is. Give me the Ravens 26-24.
Got it. I was on with our friends from Cover One the other day, and the vibes are so bad in Buffalo right now. They're so down. It's just so different.
They just won like 4 bucks.
And
It was the Panthers.
They're sad. I genuinely, guys, I think the Chiefs like might have broke them a little bit last year in a different way than it's been in the last few years. I think they genuinely believed last year was their destiny, and it wasn't. Lucy continues to pull the football away from the Buffalo Bills every single time that these two teams match up, and I'm not sure it's gonna. I'm not sure that's going away. I'm not sure. Like, I think this is low key a big game for the Bills' psyche. A regular season game against the Kansas City Chiefs has low key become an important game for the psyche. I'm curious to see the response of this team if it's defeats. It's different, man.
It is different.
If the Chiefs beat the Bills, I don't know how the mentality is going to be of that program afterwards. I'm serious. It feels different. But it also, I mean, it's different for the Chiefs because the Chiefs are playing from behind against the Indianapolis Colts, and they badly need to win to stay ahead not stay ahead, to stay in contention for the 1 seed. So both of these teams need this one bad. I think the offense is humming on all cylinders. I think they're going to put together a great performance. I think the defense does enough. I think it's 28-24 Chiefs. And I think you're right, Craig. I don't think it's really, it's fake close 28-24. I think it's a late touchdown from the Buffalo Bills that makes this one interesting. And not even that interesting because the onside kick doesn't land for the Bills. And the Chiefs win 28-24. That is going to do it for this episode of the Casey Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching.
No runs.
We love ya. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
Chiefs 30-22.